Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Hellions issue number 7. It feels really good to be reading some X-Men books again, to be reviewing some books again, and I'm cool with starting off with an H book. I'm all there. I'm here for this, dude. This was a fantastic book. Whole different take on Sinister that I'm surprised I'm actually cool with. Let's get talking about that and all sorts of X-Men stuff. First, we're going to talk about who made this book. Disclaimer, I'm going to do a live review for the Ten of Swords stuff once I'm finished reading it all, but I couldn't wait. I needed to get back to normal for me. Like, it's bad enough, this whole COVID thing. So getting back to normal with some X-Men reading, that is pretty mandatory for my sanity. So bang, I'm back. It's back. Let's go. Issue number 7 is called Whetstone, which is actually just a river stone that you use for sharpening your knives or any tools that you may have. Some people may not know that. I'm a survivalist. I do this stuff. Anyway, so this issue is called Whetstone. Zeb Wells is the writer. Stefan Segovia on art. David Curiel doing the colors. The letters and production are by VC's Corey Petit. Tom Mueller doing the design. The cover artists are Stefan Segovia and Rain Barreto. Jonathan Hickman is still the head of X after all this time and after allowing a thing like the Ten of Swords to happen. Oh well, it is what it is. Let's get talking about this book. We've got Sinister beseeching the council to bring his Hellions back. It's like, I know that there's been a halt. There's been a stoppage, a stopgap. We're not allowed to resurrect people anymore and bring them back. But my Hellions, they did so much to save. And it's like, it's hysterical because Exodus is over here like, dude, will you please, are you finished? Are you finished? Now look, back in the day, I'm doing air quotes here, my Mr. Sinister from like Inferno, he would have just been like, how dare you speak to me like that? And they would have gone at it with each other. And since they're not actually in Sinister's domicile, Exodus probably would have won. Let's just, facts and facts. Yeah, Exodus probably would have won, and it wouldn't have gone great, all that being what it is, Sinister is actually heeding to the name. Because the Mr. Sinister in the past used to be considered ruthless more than sinister, right? Sinister's the guy that he's going to get his way no matter what nefarious means he has to use, which means he's not limited to being a one-trick pony of, you challenge me, I'll break your neck and throw you in the garbage and resurrect you myself and clone you and stuff like that. Nah, Sinister doesn't actually have to do all, well, the name Sinister implies that he's not relegated to only one course of action to get his ways. He'll go through any length to get that. And it's funny because that's pretty much the Sinister that we're getting right now. I know it's not that, I know a lot of us are really upset with this version of Mr. Sinister, but I just love this version of Sinister so damn much. It's one thing to make a joke. It's one thing to make a funny joke. It's another thing to make Mr. Sinister make a funny joke. It's another thing to make me say, you know what? I'm okay with this version of Mr. Sinister. Especially since we know that at any moment we can have another version of Mr. Sinister who comes up behind this one, snaps his neck and says, now we're going to play by these rules. And he just might as well have like a bunch of needles hanging out of his face like freaking Pinhead with the lament configuration. Hellraiser. Anyway, when Exodus says this, instead, he's like, well, I was going to start naming off names, but if that's too much for you guys, it's like, okay, fine, proceed. What Mystique says next is basically, she just says, checkmate. This is basically like, gotcha, bitches. That's basically what Mystique is saying. That's what's so hysterical here. Because at the end of the day, this reminds me of Mr. Sinister doing this. Reminds me a lot of Kanye West. Hey, genius as far as music is concerned, kind of an idiot man-child, emotionally stunted freakazoid in every other regard to the man's life, right? So, like that one award show that Kanye was not hosting, but he was accepting an award, and he was just going on forever. He was droning on and taking up too much air, right? Like, calm down, son. And then they started playing the music, which means we're going to go to commercial whether you're finished or not. And then he goes and he says, and I'd like to thank my mother. Yeah, you think y'all could stop with the music now? And they did. Like, dude, Lots of us have lost parents and loved ones and people we really care about, and it hurts, and we also move on. But this guy milked that for all it was worth. Now he just talks about, I wanted to kill my children. Like, okay, dude, I'm so you're so like, why do you still exist? But that's what Mr. Sinister pretty much does here. He does a Kanye moment. He actually goes and does this, and he shuts everybody up. Mystique's like, okay, fine. And the funny part is, they're already being resurrected as it stands. He just, maybe he didn't realize it, maybe he did, but he's doing this for the sake of conversation anyway. Because Kate Pride goes and says to Emma, hey, isn't this already a done deal? Isn't Professor X resurrecting them right now as we speak? And Emma's just like, yeah, yeah, but let this go, child. This is so fun. I'm in love with this. You want to know the best part of everything I just said so far? It's all on the first damn page. I literally only talked about the first page of this comic book. And this is so, oh my God. And there's still more pages, like another 20 pages or so. So there's the continuation of, hey, these guys weren't killed on other worlds, so they can be resurrected, but the system is still compromised. Apparently at some point during Ten of Swords, Gorgon was brought back also, and something happened with him. Okay, can't wait to get to that. Not really, but okay, can't wait to get to that and see, that part at least, what happened. But there are certain problems, and of course there's the credibility factor. It's like Sinister on the board. You have to listen to him, right? But at the same time, it's Sinister. He's going to lie. If the guy says his back hurts, it's probably his foot that hurts. If he's in pain at all, he's going to lie about everything, But they resurrect most of these guys. But when they resurrect Nanny and Wild Child, they're different. They're more focused. Also, they're just wrong. Well, at least Nanny is. Look at Nanny. Look at Nanny. That's not what Nanny looks like. This is her without it, because these two are naked right now. This is not what she looks like. Listen, I'm just going to point something out right now. I did a 10 things about Nanny and Orphan-Maker explained in a minute here on Comic Book University. Feel free to go and check that out. I made sure to include one of, I think, the only picture of what Nanny looks like before she goes inside that egg armor. She's just a regular old woman. She's not a mutant or anything, Hey, if she you want to make her mutant, you want to retcon stuff, add in stuff that wasn't there before, I'm cool with it. But don't change her body type so now she actually looks like a freaking egg. She did invent this stuff, but not because she looked like this. That's not, no. What are we doing here? She doesn't look like that. That's just freaky. Ew. But they both come back more focused. Now that can mean a lot of things for Nanny, because Sinister kind of gives the cat away in this one. I think that's how the idiom goes. He gives it away, the secrets, because she tries to rescue mutants, orphaned mutants. Even if she has to actually orphan those mutants herself, she'll kill the human parents of orphans in order to get these children, because that's what she does. So her being more focused, I wonder what that's going to mean for her character. Character development for Nanny? I swear to God, I never thought there would come a day. Plus what they're going to be doing with Peter now. Look, I've talked about it in my 10 things about. Feel free to pause the video and go check that out if you want. But the point is, this boy, we always knew that he had to be a mutant, but we never knew what his mutant power was. Now all of a sudden they're making so that his mutant power is not actually a power so much as a curse. It's not a gift so much as a curse that is potentially world-shattering. Whatever it is that actually is going to happen. I love the mystery behind this. Character development for Peter, the Orphan-Maker? Okay. And then you've got Wild Child, who's a whole lot easier. He's all about proving himself to be the alpha. Now he's more focused and he's not so worried about the distractions. The distractions are the people around him, including when Scalp Hunter, Grey Crow, goes and says, and I'm not doing that on purpose. In my head, he's Scalp Hunter, and I have to remember to call him Grey Crow. Eventually I'll get it, just I'm not there yet. Grey Crow, he starts basically making fun of Wild Child. Now, previous to this, Wild Child would be like, "You're making fun of me? I have to prove that I'm the alpha," and go after him. Now he's just like, "I am the alpha, and I don't need to prove a damn thing to you or anybody else, son." So he moves on with his life, and that's that. And he's just like, I need to find myself a she-wolf, and I need to mate. I need to have some kids. Can you imagine a whole bunch of wild child-like creatures running around? Could you also imagine who he's actually going to be gunning for? Did we stop and think that Rain, better Wolfsbane, she actually ought to consider going into witness protection program, or at least womb protection program at this point? Bruh, she is not safe. She's married to a god. She better go and talk to the baby daddy, be like, "I'm gonna need you to walk around town with me from now on when I go to like the little cabana and stuff like that, because Wild Child is looking at me. I'm the only furry chick here, and I'm saying." By the way, I'm only on the 3rd page. This book. What is this book? Does anybody notice something about this page? Look at where Havoc's sitting, because Emma's being Emma. She's being a butthead. But Havoc talking to her, Alex isn't sitting on a couch. He's sitting on a bed. This is like the Golden Child. Remember Eddie Murphy? Is that a bed? Is that a bed? I'm just gonna. Yo, we know that there are orgies going on. We know that the specific main orgy right now is Cyclops and Wolverine both banging Jean, or is it Jean banging both Logan and Scott? Whatever it is, there's some banging going around, all right? The question is, what about Cyclops and Emma? So I'm wondering if Emma's decided, you know what? One Summers is as good as another. All I'm saying is, if I'm Vulcan right now, I'm getting the breath mints. I'm making sure my breath is good. I'm changing my shirt. You know what I'm saying? Get a little underarm deodorant. I'm making myself presentable. Because if one brother's as good as another, that fire within, I'm saying, the fire of Vulcan and the frost of Emma. Dude, let's go. Like match made in bed at least. Is that a bed? Oh my God, I love this book. I miss this book. I miss this book so much. Seeing Mr. Sinister trying to grovel and whatnot, but then when Quanon goes on his side, and then he in private to her, suddenly he changes, he becomes all alpha. You know what I'm saying? Like the different levels of his manipulation. This is what I'm talking about when I say that Sinister doesn't have to just be one thing. He doesn't just have to be Mr. Ruthless. Sinister incorporates all forms of manipulation to get what you want, whether it's bullying, whether it's coercion, blackmail, full on, if it's begging, all the different things to get what you want by any means necessary. That, and in an evil way, that is Sinister. All right? I'm digging on this. Quanon clearly cannot be trusted. The little gift of wrecking his plane, especially the way that she does, it's got to be that hardcore thing. Look, make no mistake, I love her character portrayal in this because that seems like something that Quanon would do. We're learning more about Quanon now than we have before, at least since Brian Edward Hill's recent book that he just did, right? Where it actually really went into who Quanon is and the idea that she has to go against Apoth, and now Sinister has Apoth and she's trying to get her daughter back. It's interesting to me because maybe she's not going to be a mutant. I mean, why would she necessarily be a mutant, right? She could have gone to Professor X, but maybe if she's worried that the child isn't a mutant, maybe that's where this is coming from. Could this be a Victor Creed and Graydon Creed thing? I don't know. We're not there yet. But there's a reason why she didn't go to Professor X and the Council. She went to Sinister instead. I'm very curious to see that played out. I'm very interested in seeing where that's going to go. And this is where he gets really creepy, right? Just really bullying and the manipulative kind of, fingers in a steeple kind of way. I wonder, we know that Sinister at one point is going to betray them, and that betrayal is going to come in the form of the clones, the resurrection protocol, We know that this is going to happen ever since the Dawn of X books, The Great Betrayal by Sinister. One would have to figure that the book that he's mostly in, Hellions, would have to be where that's going to happen. I wonder if Apoth isn't going to be a part of his plan in order to get what he wants. Is it Apoth or Apoc? I think it's Apoth. Anyway, all of this, every single creepy little freaking bit of this, Apoth. It is Apoth. I am loving this so much. I am loving so much of everything that I'm seeing here. I'm not going to get into, because this isn't a spoiler review, I'm not going to get into the end of the book and who actually shows up at the end, but it's perfect. When you consider everything that's going on with the clones and the situation the mutants are in, when this individual shows up at the end, it reeks of perfection. I am so in love with this book and everything that it's providing right now. My peeps. I know that you guys are reading this too. I am positive there is not one single person out there who's lurking, doesn't say anything, and says, I wonder if this book is any good. Should I get it? No. I think by now we're all on it. And if you're not, welcome. Welcome to the family. Unfortunately, it's a very dysfunctional family with a crazy albino guy as our father. But, it's fun. It's a fun ride. Guys, this is one of the most amazing books that Marvel is doing. I really hope that we don't have any more, with all due respect, stupid effing events or crossovers or tie-ins or, God help me, a saga. I don't need another such and such of X. No, I just want my X books. I just want to be able to say, these are the ones I'm reading. These are the ones that I'm not reading. These are the ones I can go to if I get a recommendation, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all I want. I think the books are going to sell well enough like this. I don't need this other nonsense. I just want to continue reading my stories. That's all I want. I love the idea that you can read them all together, or you don't have to. But the Hoxpox thing and the Dawn of X that led up to it, that was necessary. But now that it's splintered into the different books, I don't really need anything to rein it back in again anytime soon. This isn't we've gone way past the days of the box TVs, you know what I'm saying, with the cables that have to be tightly wound all the time, every couple of inches. We don't need that anymore. We're in the digital world now, and we could just have separate books that stay tied together with a head of X and editors. We should be good. So I hope that that's where we go from this point on. I just want to be able to read my Marauders. I want to read my Hellions. I want to read the books that I want to read. Not, this is part 1 of 16. Oops, we're going to make it 22 now. Oops, screw you. No, I don't want that. Guys, this is awesome, and I hope that I hope that you guys are having a good time too. Talk to me. Welcome back to the world of X, Professor Bill. I've missed being here. Talk to you guys later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.